Hi, welcome to Issues and Insights. I'm Donnie Gill. I'm the Public Information Officer for Lincoln Trail District Health Department, and I'm here today with Tommy Crane, the Deputy Fire Marshal in Radcliffe. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, today we are going to talk about, since it is the season, some early summer safety issues.
Right.
Something near and dear to us at the Health Department, so we got a lot of common ground here.
Oh yes, absolutely. Our common goal is to keep people safe, and
Yes.
no matter what the time of year is. And today, a lot of times when we come in, we focus on fire safety, but in the fire service, we respond to a lot of things other than just fires today. So I just wanted to kind of cover some things that, as people get out more, they get active, the temperatures go up and things like that. And we just wanted to make sure that people remember a few safety items in addition to fire safety as well.
Okay. I guess we'll get started on one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite things to do, grilling. So
Yes.
Grilling safety.
Absolutely. The thing we remind people about grilling is, number one is to make sure before you decide to grill, if you live in an apartment building, if you live in the cities of E-Town and Radcliffe, you're restricted on having a grill on your deck or your balcony.
Okay.
So that's something to remember before you go out and spend a lot of money on a real nice grill. Make sure you check with your local ordinances and see what you're allowed to have.
Okay.
Because and the reason for that, it may sound like we're being kind of mean, but if it's just your home, it's just your family. But when you're in an apartment building, you're looking
Right.
at multiple families that could be affected if something goes wrong. And a lot of times too, that goes along with our distance rule. If you're using a grill or even like a fire pit or something like that, you've got that open flame, whether it's gas or charcoal, and you want to keep it about 10 feet away from the structure. So most of your balconies are not going to go out that far. So you're going to be limited on your distance. I had a neighbor one time that he was grilling out back, and he had his it was a gas grill, but he had it too close to his house, and so he melted some of his siding.
Ooh.
So that's something to remember. There are opportunities. A lot of your public parks will have grills located in them, so that you can do that. Before you get the grill out, when you decide to grill, we remind people to check for the integrity. If it's been sitting out in the weather, it could rust and might not be as stable. Make sure with the gas grill you check the hoses, the connections, fittings, and stuff, and your propane cylinder. Make sure it's in good shape. We tell people too, just like in the house when you're cooking, we remind them to have that kid and pet free zone around the stove and the oven.
Right.
We remind them to have that when they're grilling too. To just make sure people, you got the family over, friends over. Make sure that the kids and the pets stay away from the grill. Even after you're done cooking, it's still got that residual heat.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's something to remember too, that it'll stay hot for quite a while. When it comes time, to get rid of the coals, make sure that you've let them cool properly, and don't take them over to the side of the yard by the dry field and dump them
Yeah.
and start a field fire. So that'd be bad too. So.
And you say this probably because you've witnessed it at some
yes,
point. Yes,
we have, but yeah, we've one many years ago. We had one where the gentleman had he'd finished grilling and he took the coals over to the side, and it was a particularly dry summer, and they were still hot enough that they had ignited the brush, and so we had a couple departments out there putting out the brush fire. So
Okay. Let's avoid that.
right, yeah, we don't want that. That's correct. So yeah, grilling, just like, and if you're using a fire pit or anything like that in your backyard, we still recommend those distances, 10 to 15 feet, and then make sure it's not under any kind of, or close to any kind of overhang.
Okay.
So that's important too. So.
Yeah, very good tips there. I guess looking ahead a little bit, fireworks season, we have the 4th of July approaching, so
Right.
Always important to practice safety when handling fireworks.
Absolutely. I was talking to someone else. We were doing a public service announcement. We were talking about, how, I remember when I was younger, sparklers were pretty cool, you know, and as I've gotten older and, I get kids of my own now, and you think about it, it's like, well, that's actually probably not the best idea, one of the notes I found was that glass melts at about 900 degrees, and the tip of a sparkler is about 1,200 degrees.
Wow.
So, you give that to a little kid and you tell them to run around and have fun.
Yeah.
So with this little metal rod, it's about 1,200 degrees. So, we want to make sure the, burn incidences from that, emergency rooms do see an increase, around that time of year because of people not being careful. The main thing we recommend is, try to go see a professional display where they've got all the
Right.
distances. They've got people that's all they're doing is watching those fireworks and setting them off.
And even then, sometimes you see some accidents with those,
Yes.
so this is not something to play around with.
Right. YouTube has some pretty interesting videos with that.
Yeah.
So, and some of those videos, you can watch and you can see where, kids, teenagers have, done something that's, it wound up being an accident. Their hand got hurt or something. So, it's very important that you're careful with fireworks. Make sure that one thing we talk about in the fire service a lot is distance. Keeping things away from what that fire and what could burn. So you can use fireworks now in the state of Kentucky. And you can buy them and use them. But there are some precautions. You have to have about 200 feet between you and cars and buildings and stuff. So make sure you've got that. So if you launch that bottle rocket up, it doesn't go into your neighbor's gutter.
Right. Yeah.
They probably wouldn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, and definitely make sure that you let the adults do the
Yes.
do the lighting of the fuses and things like that, and keep some water handy, and just and watch the weather conditions too. If it's real windy, you don't want to do aerial stuff, and if it is real dry, to watch and see what the weather alerts are, if it's a red flag or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of times my Weather Channel app will send me the wind advisories and things like that. So
Yes.
maybe people should look into getting that app, stay updated that way.
Right. FEMA has a good one too.
Okay.
They have a good one that it'll send out the weather alerts if there's high wind conditions or anything just like that. So
Okay.
it's really good as well.
Yeah, my wife and I, we moved here from Arizona, and they were very strict, for obvious reasons, about
Oh, yes.
fireworks out
Yeah.
there. Most of them had to be shot above water of some kind.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. So very good.
All right. A lot of people are shaping up their yards after they kind of, get away from us during wintertime.
Right,
so
right.
Brush piles, and people want to burn those. And again, some safety tips for that.
Right. Like you said, excuse me, when the weather gets nice and, you start doing that yard work, cleaning up, cleaning out the garden to get ready to plant the garden, getting all that, the old growth out of there. People a lot of times want to burn. There again, you want to check your ordinance and make sure what your local, if you live in a city, what are the rules?
Okay.
The cities, I know E-Town and Radcliffe, and I'm sure Vine Grove, they have burn ordinances, and they might be a little bit different. So I know in Radcliffe you have to get a permit, and there's no cost to it, but the permit helps us keep track of things, and also to let us make sure that what you can and can't burn, and
Okay.
and if you're a lot of your homes and your subdivisions are pretty close, so you may not be able to, because there's that distance
Right.
factor. We like to have that distance between our fire and what the fire itself and what else can burn. So and so we want to make sure that you have enough room. So if the fire does spread and you have trouble getting under control, that you've got that space and that time with you. If you live in the county, it's a little more relaxed on what you can burn and everything. But there again, we're talking about wind and stuff. You always want to watch the wind conditions. We tell people always stay with the fire. Don't light the fire and then go off and eat lunch or take a nap or something. Stay with the fire.
Yeah, bad things could happen in the meantime.
Right. And it doesn't take very long either. That's the one thing that we remind people. It doesn't take very long. If try to keep the area you're going to use, to keep the grass cut short, and and make sure if you can put some barriers around it, some rocks or something. Keep the pile manageable. You know, if it's a small pile, you make sure maybe you have a shovel, maybe a bucket of water, or a garden hose.
Yeah, run the hose out to it.
Yeah. So just remember those things. Like I said, the most important thing is to check what you can and can't do where you live.
Okay.
And so that's a big thing there. And there's certain seasons too that even the state forestry department, you know, puts out as you can. They limit your burn times and limit your distances are greater because of dry growth and stuff where things have gone dormant, and so they're so those are important things to remember as well. Same way with campfires. If you're camping out, you know, we're talking about that it's cookouts and campouts are starting to be more that weekend thing. Stay with your campfire. Make sure if you're doing the fire, where you're going to be doing it, and make sure that you have some water or something to put it out, or dirt, and just make sure your distance is there as well.
Okay. Now, where can people access the information about the burning ordinance?
You can go to radcliffe.org.
Okay.
We have all the ordinances listed there. It's one of the tabs that you can pull down, and you can find all the ordinances of what you can and can't do. I'm sure E-Town probably has a similar
on the government page.
Right, and if not, you can always call the fire station, and we can always give you that information and go over it with you. And so we're always willing to help out in that way too.
Okay. Now, in addition to burning dangers and cleaning up our yards, we have other considerations: power lines, ladder safety. All things that lead to unintentional injury.
Right. When you get out there and do that yard work, one thing is you want to make sure you stay hydrated. Is the way we were talking about how we've kind of skipped spring this year. We've kind of jumped right into summer. So that heat, the humidity really wears you out. When you're working around the house, some of a lot of your newer homes, the power goes underground into the house, but a lot of your houses, still have the power lines come in overhead into the weatherhead. So, make sure if you've got a ladder, you stay away from those power lines wherever if you're cleaning gutters, working on, the house, painting, taking care of any of the issues that you had to wait till the good weather to do. Make sure. We always recommend having somebody maybe heel the ladder. Standing there, make sure the ladder doesn't move on you.
It's always good to have a spotter.
Absolutely. And if nothing else, at least let somebody know what you're going to be doing. If you're getting out there, you're going to be working. Tell your wife, hey, I'm going to go, work on the roof or work on the gutters. That's the rainy season's when you find out everything that leaks or doesn't work right. The gutters are clogged and thought you had them cleaned out, and find out they're overflowing.
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah. So just use some caution there when you're doing that kind of stuff as well.
Okay. And also, the warm weather brings out more pedestrians and bike riders. And I saw a guy yesterday on St. John's Road breaking the rule. He was riding against traffic.
Yes.
So let's break that down a little bit.
Okay. Riding a bike. I like to ride my bicycle versus like running or something like that. But when you're riding your bicycle, you ride with the traffic. When you walk, facing the traffic. A lot of people do get that confused. And there are some. They're putting more and more bike lanes out on the roads now, which helps. But always as a motorist, always be mindful that the bicycles have the right of being able to be on the road as well. And be cautious if you're passing, and if you're riding a bike, we recommend making sure that you have some bright clothing or maybe a flashing LED light on the back. Always wear your bike helmet. Make sure it fits. With your younger ones, make sure that it fits them. Don't leave it up to them to make sure it fits or not. So you want a good fit for the helmet so it doesn't slide around. And try to we encourage parents to make their kids wear helmets. We haven't seen a lot of head injuries, but there have been some in the past. I remember we've responded to where fortunately the child wasn't injured seriously, but he was just riding down the hill and something happened and he flipped his bike, and he did have a little bit of a head injury, and scraped up and everything. But definitely make sure, and if you can ride in a group, if you're one of those that like to ride for distances, there are several groups that ride together. They'll ride on like a Saturday morning or in the evening. But yeah, for motorists and bicyclists both, just be mindful of each other and, try to, give a little space and, not,
Right.
And be patient. That's a big thing too. When you're riding, make sure you let someone know where you are. If you're going to ride for several miles, kind of let them know at least the general area you're going to be in. I always let my wife know if I'm going to, go down a road that I haven't been going down before or haven't gone down in a while, just to let her know if I don't come back in the normal time, that I would normally be back, maybe come looking for me.
Yeah, send out the search
wants,
party.
Yeah.
If
she wants to, I don't, but, and then, stay hydrated, take you some water with you and things like that.
And I'll throw on some sunscreen,
Yes, yeah.
because that always helps as well.
Absolutely.
And also it's swimming season. I know this is traditionally, this weekend is opening of pool season. And there's all kinds of inherent dangers with pools. I mean, they're lots of fun, but lots of safety issues.
Absolutely. With the younger children, always make sure keep an eye on them. Know where they can. What are their capabilities? Do they need to stay in the shallow end? Things like that. And we recommend the buddy system. Always making sure that you don't swim by yourself. Even as an adult, you always want to try to have somebody close by. So that's always a good idea. You talked about sunscreen. Definitely when you're in the pool.
Absolutely.
That's an easy one to get burned out swimming. But definitely wear sunscreen so you don't want to get a burn. The one thing, and lifeguards are taught this is that you can't always, when people are drowning, they don't do the Hollywood thing where they thrash around and yell help.
Sticking their hands above the water.
Right. Most of the time, it's hard to spot them because a lot of times they're struggling to just stay above water. So they may just look like somebody that's just kind of floating around and maybe moving their arms, but they're really trying to work to stay above that water level. So it's not always as visible as you think it is, especially if you've got several people in the pool. So make sure that they know the pool safety rules, no rough housing, things like that. So those are things to remember. Like I said, especially smaller children, and especially with toddlers, and make sure that they can't gain access to that pool.
Yes.
During when it's not time to be swimming. Make sure you know that pool is secure for their safety as well.
Yeah, that was always drilled into my head growing up. We had a pool and it had a solar blanket that we had to put on it. So that was always, don't go out there and get under this blanket. 'Cause it would just kind of suck you down into it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yes, let's make sure we keep an eye on our young ones and adults as well.
Right.
And I guess the last one we'll kind of touch on here, and it's pretty relevant because it was in the news this morning, leaving children in cars unattended or accidentally. I think it happened in Nashville. We had a death reported today. So.
It's something that you and I were talking before the show. It's something that seems like it's all too common now, and it's we do live busy lives and everything, but you and I were talking about just being vigilant, and it just takes that 1 second to kind of turn around, check your car. We have some things we tell people to remind. Just kind of look at the car, check the back seat before you walk away. If you're not normally the parent that does the drop-off duties and takes them to daycare or to school or to grandma or grandpa's, make sure that just do that little extra check. If it's kind of out of the ordinary, some of the things you can do is maybe like put a stuffed animal in the car seat, while when the child's not there, and then when you put them in the seat, put it up front with you.
Okay, so you have something to cue you.
Right. And you look over there and hey, that's not normally here. It's usually in the back. You could put, like, say, your lunchbox, your briefcase, stuff you normally take out of the car to take in to work with you. Or, someone else mentioned a great idea. Put your cell phone back there. That way you're not
you're not going to leave that behind.
Right. You're not going to leave that behind. And, we laugh about that. We don't know how we survived without them, but the other thing is that way you're not tempted to text and drive or anything like that too. So it's back there and you have to go get it. So you're going to open the door and say, oh, hey, little Johnny's still sitting in the seat. That shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. I would imagine that probably contributes to this. The cell phones probably contribute to this problem just for distraction purposes.
I think
the phone rings when you park. You start messing with the phone. Next thing you know, you've left child behind.
Right. You get out, you lock the door just like you normally would, and just walk in. And we try to remind people, it's even if you just think you're going into the convenience store for just a few, it's a couple minutes, to get you a soda or something. We remind people that in 10 minutes the car's temperature can rise over 20 degrees.
Okay.
So just 10 minutes it can rise 20 degrees, especially with the heat and humidity we have here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long at all. And one of the other interesting ones that really surprised me was even on a day when the average temperature is only like 60 degrees, the inside of the car can reach 110.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big temperature difference between 60 degree, which we would consider a mild day, and it's 100. It can be 110 in the car already. So, and to give you some perspective, it can reach 110 degrees. A child's body temperature, when it reaches 107, the child dies. That's beyond what the child's body can handle. So,
yeah, because they run a little hotter than us anyway, so they got a little less ceiling room there.
Absolutely, and their body will compensate, to so much, and then after it hits that point, then they can a lot of times take more than an adult can, but once it reaches that point, then their body says I'm done. So that's something to remember is that just do those few things, just look back and just do a double take, and it only takes a couple extra seconds, and could save their life. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, they always say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Right,
so.
right.
And I might suggest just walking around the car.
Right.
Just do a walk around.
Definitely.
Before you head into work or store, wherever.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. Even if you're getting ready to leave the house, let's say you've got a younger child, and their height is not as tall, a lot of times as the car windows, so you might not be able to see a little head bobbing around.
Right.
So if you're getting ready to leave the house, and the kids are outside playing, just kind of do a check around the car, make sure that they're not close to the car or anything. So.
Or they've parked their bikes behind the car.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
That.
Yep. So
now I know a lot of cars now have the backup cameras. That only covers such a limited view, though. So would you still recommend the complete walk around?
Definitely. Just do a quick check, either side of the car and around the back, and the cameras are most of them are pretty limited on their field of vision. The other thing too is one of our vehicles, our newest vehicle, has a camera on it, but I'm so used to driving and backing up without one. I check it just maybe to make sure there's nothing right behind the vehicle, but I really don't use it that much, even with all the little color-coded lines.
Getting close. Yeah.
I just still rely on my mirrors a lot, so it is a good habit to just kind of check around the vehicle if you've got little ones.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If anything, I look at it to see if my backup skills comply with what the camera's saying. So, kind of a little challenge to myself.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to touch on here today?
When we were talking about riding bikes, and doing outside activities, one of the things I forgot to mention was, a lot of people, they like to get out to the parks and the nature preserves, and Saunders Springs is a great place for people to walk and enjoy the woods and stuff. So we remind people, when you're outside walking, make sure that there again you stay hydrated. I can't stress that enough. Last year we had a few calls where people were had a lot of heat problems, and some of them were just people just got tired, and they sat down to rest, and somebody was concerned and called it in. But stay hydrated. There again, make sure, just like when riding a bike, make sure somebody knows where you are. So if it gets later and you're not back, somebody can come and check on you. And just make sure you do know the trail, kind of know the trail you're walking. If you go to some places like Bernheim, some of their longer trails, you have to check in at the ranger station before you go.
Okay, yeah, I've
walking.
seen that at parks before. Yeah.
Right. So just make sure, like I said, somebody knows where you are. So if you do get caught, with the daylight leaving, that you can kind of let somebody know. And there again, if you want to hike with somebody, that's always good too. And stay on the marked path. Stay, we're talking about Saunders Springs. There are some pretty steep areas.
Yes,
So
yes.
we have had to, and kind of know your own limitations as to what you can handle, and try to stay where it is clearly marked so that you don't risk, getting off the path and getting hurt or something like that. So.
Okay. Then, we have snakes to possibly worry
Right.
about. From public health perspective, ticks. We want to
Right.
watch out for ticks and mosquitoes. It's supposed to be a bad season for ticks, all the reports we're getting. Not
Yes.
that impacts the fire department or anything, but
No, but it is with with a lot of the health concerns with Lyme disease
Yes.
and the one where it actually affects. I actually know a couple of people they've contracted the one where it affects where what type of meat you eat, your
Okay.
allergic reaction. I can't remember it's some big name, but
yes,
but,
big long
yeah,
$2
right.
word.
But that is something to watch out for you and your pets.
Yes.
Try to there's a lot of sprays and stuff that you can use, and then I believe they recommend wearing light clothing so you can see and just trying to stay protected from that and check when you're done walking and stuff. So.
All right. Any other events in Radcliffe going on that you want to promote?
I don't know of any right offhand, but I just we just want people to be safe. Enjoy your summer. And use a little bit of just a little extra caution. Think about a little bit of common sense. Just be careful when you're out there. Like I said, when you're riding your bike or you're a motorist, make sure that that you're sharing the road there. Same way with people walking. I see a lot of people. I live in a rural area where a lot of people do walk along the country road.
Yes.
And so that's it's beautiful to walk out there. Just try to remember to be careful and be mindful of everybody. When you're enjoying those outdoor activities like camping, grilling, fireworks, any of those, just use a little extra caution, especially with kids. Some of the ones that are older may want to help out, but just make sure you keep an eye on them when they're, if you're wanting to teach them how to grill and, to be a young grill meister, just keep an eye on them and try to protect them and teach them that safety as well. So.
Yep. Very excellent advice. Thank you for stopping by today.
No problem. Thank you.
We do Lincoln Trail District Health Department and Radcliffe Fire. We all want you to have a safe and enjoyable summer. Like Tommy said, just be aware. Be aware of your surroundings, and that helps with a lot of accident prevention. Is simple awareness.
And if you have any questions, you can always call the fire station 270-351-1975. If you want to call my extension is 104, and we'll be happy to talk to you about any of the things we talked about, just general safety, questions about burn permits, things like that, what you can and can't do, and like I said, we want everybody to have a safe summer and enjoy the outdoor activities, enjoy the season.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for coming by today.
Thank you.
I'm Donnie Gill, and this has been Issues and Insights.